Hey Energizer, Spencer Jones here. Thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Jonesin 4 Show. The show that's here to help you live your life to the max, collect all that beautiful energy, and then share your light with the world. So thank you so much for being here. It's truly an honor. Now, in this episode, we're having another amazing guest, right? We've had some incredible guests before, and today's no different. We have another amazing guest to join us. But it is going to be a little bit different. The guest we have joining us today was a speaker at our Positivity Deep Dive event. So let me go back a little bit to explain this. So I do a 5-day positivity challenge every month on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook or you're not, get on Facebook and join us for this 5-day positivity challenge. It's absolutely free and it can help increase your positivity. Well, we also hold out of that group or from that group, we also do a positivity deep dive where we dive into our positivity even more. Now, Nicole was a special guest and speaker for our deep dive back in June. And she did an incredible job sharing her story, her ups and downs, and how she persevered. Now, let me say that she has some amazing ups, but some jaw-dropping lows. Holy crap, I can't believe the stuff she went through. I can't even fathom doing that myself. It's wild, for being homeless to just, it's better if you hear it from her. It's so incredible. And not only does she share how she overcame it, she shares how you can overcome the obstacles in your life, how you can hush that inner critic, that inner bully, as Sean Douglas says. I love that saying, by the way. You probably notice I say it almost all the time, right? How to hush it so you can keep going, so you can reach those goals and dreams. Now, the interview is from that show. So you actually get her training, the training she offered for the masters in the deep dive. And these are for people who join the deep dive at the master's level, the highest level. In the deep dive, you get 3 masters training in addition to the other trainings. This was one of them that the masters received. And I'm really excited to share that with you. So I really hope you enjoy and learn and grow from this incredible chat, not even an interview, this training from Nicole. All right, check it out. Well, Masters, good evening. I hope you are having an amazing day, had an amazing weekend, and ready to grow your self-confidence. Tonight, we have an amazing speaker. She's a friend of mine. She knows confidence through and through because, well, she exudes it. When I met her in person when I was at a retreat in November, and she was confident. She walked in the room. You knew she walked into the room. And then I got to hear a little bit more about her story, what she does. She works, and I'll let her tell her story a little more, but she works with parents and kids, and especially mothers and daughters, of how to have that connection with each other so that they can have strong, positive relationships as opposed to the negative ones that we see and hear about and that reality TV seems to thrive on. But more than that, right? She's besides just being a mom of a girl, but also 2 boys, she was a fighter. She was fighting in the cages. She has, my God, the confidence you need to do that. Like, I'd be just scared crapless to do anything like that. And just the confidence of owning her own business, going into life and sharing her passion with others. That takes a lot. And so, any case, I am super excited to welcome my friend Nicole Bonecki to join us. Nicole, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm super pumped for having you here tonight. I shared a little bit about you, but why don't you share your story, how you got here and how self-confidence brought you to this point of joining us this evening?
Sure. So I actually, self-confidence has taken me a long time, and it's something that you still have to continually work on because life happens and you get judged all the time, and you're put in situations where people question what you're doing or why you're doing it, because we all have our own journey, and if it's not something someone agrees with, and they can tear you down a little bit, so you have to know how to rebuild yourself back up. But I grew up, my mom and I had moved 36 times by the time I was 18. So I was constantly meeting new people. And it wasn't because I was a military brat. We just did. She worked a lot and just kind of hopped around. And my parents divorced when I was 2, so it was just her. She would work in 2 and 3 jobs sometimes. And unfortunately, the people that she trusted me with when I was 5, the babysitter's husband had molested me at the time. And I shut down at that point and, went through that whole therapy thing. And we moved several more times. And we were in this church at this time. It was in Arlington Heights, Illinois. And sure enough, the same thing happened. I was 11, except this time I told my mom what was going on because I felt I was big enough to have that voice. And unfortunately, what I thought would have happened did not happen. And it at an 11 years old, I learned really quickly that my voice was not honored and my voice was not heard. And no matter what I did and said to anyone, I was going to be devalued. And I probably didn't know that word back in the day, but I wasn't going to be of value to anything or anyone in this world. I was just going to be an object.
Right.
I went through emotional, mental, physical abuse when I was raped in the military. I was only in for 10 months before I got out. And I'm actually still fighting that case today because the military destroyed the records. Thankfully, I went to the hospital, so that's kind of my saving grace right now. But now I'm waiting for a judge to take it on. So, and how the military works when you do a claim is if they acknowledge the rape, they acknowledge something else. There's 3 stages in order for them to approve a claim. So even though they acknowledge the rape occurred, and they acknowledged whatever other check mark there was, there's still another check mark. So I'm not sure how that correlates when they've already acknowledged and agreed that it happened, but
Right.
There's a part of me that still battles that because it's not a closed chapter yet, but I'm doing treatment, PTSD treatment with one of our friends, with Krista, and her Battle to Be program, and it's helping tremendously. So fast forward, I got out and had my daughter. Just kind of went wild for a bit, if I have to be honest. When you experience sexual assault, you go one of 2 ways. You either retract or you move forward and just kind of wild out. And that's what I did. So I had my baby and got with my then husband. We were together for 13 years from start to finish, and had 2 boys together, and ended up leaving and experiencing homelessness because of domestic on my then 11-year-old, my now 17-year-old, and also myself. Yeah, it's been a journey. So I used cage fighting, as you had mentioned earlier. I often forget to put that in there because that chapter is closed, even though I still practice jiu-jitsu. But I used cage fighting as an escape because in the military, they program like no emotion.
Right.
And as I was growing up and you're being hit, don't cry, no emotion. So on top of being taught that my voice is already not valued, I'm now also not allowed to show emotion. So I was as emotional as I am, I was unable to cry for a very long time. So I used cage fighting as my escape because I didn't want to go to therapy. So it was my therapy because I used to cut. I've been inpatient twice for suicide, and cutting was my escape because I could feel the pain. And when that energy in my forearms would come so fiercely, I just wanted to scratch and cut because it was a release for me. It was a release of the energy to get it out of my body because I didn't know a healthy way to do it. So I used martial arts as a healthy way to do it because I think you've been in jiu-jitsu and you're a fitness guru yourself. You're sore all the time.
All the time.
There's not a moment where you're not sore, and you just get used to the sore. So I used that as my emotional escape since I didn't have the ability to cry or show any type of emotion other than just beat the crap out of something. And when I started doing jujitsu and when I started learning how to um, cage box or MMA box, since it's different than traditional boxing, a little more wide with the punches and things. That is when, even though I was angry and hurting, that is really when I started building my confidence. And even though I kept getting the crap kicked out of me, broken toes galore, you probably know that very well, getting caught in gis and whatnot, and broken fingers and popped joints and cricked necks, I kept coming back. And because I had this drive to learn and to be the best, I had to be the best at something. And that's kind of my mentality with everything, is I have to be the best. And with that, even though I lost my first 7 fights, I knew eventually I was going to win one. And even though weight cuts were hell, I knew I would get to my goal because I had to. The last 2 weeks, I was eating 2 clementines a day with scoops of peanut butter while sweats, sauna suit, sweats, still training like 6 hours a day.
Right.
So
oh my God.
that was so fun. We will not be doing that again.
Good choice. Good choice.
That's how not to do it, because your kidneys shut down. But through martial arts, I started building my confidence. I started boosting my ego, and not in a way where it's unhealthy, where you walk in and you're cocky, in a way where it's I started to believe in myself. So that's kind of where the journey began with my self-confidence, is when I began jujitsu, when I began martial arts, when I started even in practice, just hitting the moves. When my instructor had to tell me to go with the guys because I was too rough with the girls, that honestly to me was the biggest ego boosting compliment ever. And I'm like, I'm going soft. I don't know what you want me to do. But that's where it began. And then I did let this thing, I'm not sure if you've heard of Landmark Forum.
Mm-hmm.
So I did Landmark Forum. I did their intro course, and I started breaking down all the egos I had, all the walls I had. I started healing the parts of me that I just had built up so much. And I'm not sure if you've ever experienced anxiety or panic attacks, or where your throat closed off or your chest closed off. I started speaking things to free myself. And that has not stopped. And since then, it was Success Resources and Millionaire Mindset Intensive and Train the Trainer, and now Unleash You Now, and everyone that's involved in our group. We have you, we have Sean's Hush the Inner Bully, we have Crystal, we have Marie. Like, everyone is doing so much. And despite the fact we have our own thing, we all come together as one. So for me, boosting my confidence has been an internal growth. It's been self-affirmations. It's been, I don't believe in religion. I very much spiritual. I do believe in a higher power. I do read the Bible. I read a lot of things because I believe the center of it is love. And if you look at everything, most religions, the word love is mentioned so many times. And if people could just focus on that, everything else is just a tool. It's just more knowledge. So when you focus on that love and the meditation and being centered and being whole and silencing the outside world, you really start to step into who you are and what your purpose is and how you can impact others. And once you figure out what your purpose is, and once you start impacting others in a way that's truly and wholeheartedly selfless, without expecting anything in return, or without coming back and saying, hey, I did that for you, you need to do this. Like, that's not serving. Serving is doing without expectation. Serving is not publicizing it everywhere. Like, hey, I did this, and selfies everywhere. And I had done that before. And I was like, wow, I was such an insensitive jerk.
Right.
And so now when I'm on, and I'm like, yes, I know I'm a bad bitch, but we're going to stay humble. And I look in the mirror. There's days where I'm like, you are hideous. And I had one of our group members tell me to take a picture of myself. And she's like, describe the person you see. And I lost it.
Hmm.
I absolutely lost it, because the person I saw in the picture was not the person I saw in the mirror. And like, if there's one exercise to do that is super powerful, holy cow, that's the one.
I have not heard of that exercise before, but holy crap! As soon as you said it, I'm like, we're doing that one. That is so impactful. So I'm going to challenge all of our masters here, but I'm also going to lay it out in the group for everyone to take on that challenge, to take a picture of yourself and describe that, because it's so different when we think about another person, when we're talking to another person, as opposed to when we're talking to ourselves, quote unquote, right? We're so much harsher on ourselves. And like, you can show that person love, you can show that person kindness, and you need to show that to yourself. And I'm 100% behind you. Love is the center of the universe, and if we can all just get closer to that and strive to have more love, be more love, and share more, that this world will be a totally different place. Heck, that's why we have the positivity challenges. That's why we have this. That's why we do all these things, because we're all just trying to get closer to and just closer to love, but having more in our life. But I want to hop back here in your story, because holy crap, girl, there's so many amazing things here, so many incredible and horrific things that you shared, things that I cannot even fathom going through. The experiences you had as a child, early child to teenager to in the military, and afterwards, of that just crippling you. And I can imagine how much, I mean, as you said, you had to shut down, right? You had to shut down your your emotions. You couldn't be emotionally attached to it, right? You were forced to separate your emotional self from your physical self, and then now trying to reattach, bring them back together. And that's extremely hard. And with all those experiences, because you were forced to not have those emotions, you weren't able to build that confidence in yourself. And that was reinforced, sadly, when you were 11, when you tried to share your story, share what was going on. And well, that doesn't build any confidence. As a matter of fact, that rips away any little confidence that you needed to share that. And obviously now you've been working on it. You've started building up that confidence. And even through different times in your life, you had little confidence here or there, but it really didn't start to accumulate till you got into jujitsu, till you got into something where you were doing those repeated actions. You were practicing those moves over and over. You're drilling and drilling and drilling them. Well, what does that do? Well, that helps you make sure you know the move, that you have it down, right? If we're just talking straight jujitsu, right? Like, you want to get to this hold, and you practice that hold over and over and over again. And it's that repeated action that shows you in your mind, oh, you got this. Oh, you got this. Okay. Nope. Now you got this, right? And that builds that confidence. And that goes for anything in life, right? Whatever we want. If we want to have more confidence in our life, you do one action and you do it over and over and over again until you get good at it, until you get more confident to the fact that you can do this. Like, not that we remember, but when we, unless you had an accident or something, but like when you were learning how to walk, you probably weren't confident in your ability to walk, right, at that time. But now, I imagine you're pretty confident. You can walk right now, right? And you wouldn't have to think about it. Well, it's because you had all those practices. So let me ask you this question. Because you went through all that, and I'm sure it was extremely hard to build that confidence, what were some of the key things for you that helped you grow more confident in your life, in having that voice and knowing, no, I am a badass. I have this voice. I should, people should listen to me because I have stuff to say. And it's not that ego saying, look at me, I'm freaking awesome. And as you said, share all the stuff you do to the world. It's like, no, I'm helping the world. I'm sharing it, right? It's confidence. It's not that negative ego. So what were some things that really helped you boost your ego even more?
Honestly, after I left my ex-husband, I then, I experienced the homelessness with the kids for a little bit. We were category 2, so there's 3 categories of homelessness. We were actually in a friend's home. We just didn't have a home of our own. So I would just want to clarify that, because there's 3 different categories.
I never knew that at all.
Cat 1 is on the streets 90 days or less. Cat 2 is hotel or couch surfing, as you will. And then Cat 3 is on the streets 90 days or more.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we were cat 2 and had some very good friends. Kids' godparents were amazing and are amazing. But so went through that and finally got housing and all that. But I had my last cage fight in October of 2016, a week after my fight. You can tell in my photos, when my energy goes dark, my eyes are like sharks. They're black as black can be. It's like my soul is gone. And I know that's kind of a grim way to describe it, but that's genuinely what happens. I know when my soul is light and when it's, well, I can feel it, but if one could tell, it would be by my eyes. And you can see in the photos, it's almost like was no soul that existed. And a week after my fight, I just crashed from everything that happened that year. And I wound up back in inpatient again for suicide. And I was going through the treatment, and this time, the first time I was 18. It was right after the rape. This time, it was more of a spiritual awakening for me. And I mean, the spiritual gifts and all that, that runs deep in my bloodline through the ancestors and all of that. But this is when I started listening, that I had a greater purpose, and I was battling with myself that I was worthless, that I wasn't meant to be here, that nobody could love me. There's times even still where comments are made and it makes me want to cut my face up just to make me ugly. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't until I was inpatient where I fell to my knees, and I do it time and time again because now meditation and all of that. And I just asked God what my purpose was. I've always had an idea what my purpose was, but in this moment, it was, I'm either going to be here and I'm going to be here and do it right, or I'm not going to be here at all. And I'm going to leave my kids here and they're not going to have anybody. So my kids came to play in this, but for me, it was, what is my purpose here and where do you need me? So now every day I ask and I pray, where do you need me? Put me where you need me. And that's truly when I started transforming. And the more I fell, the more I rose, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
It makes sense 100% to me, but I know even just a couple of years ago, I would have been like, okay, like, sure, that makes sense, but not really.
Okay.
So let me ask this question, because I know I have clients who struggle with this as well. How do you find your purpose? I mean, if that was that real transformative moment for you, how can you find your purpose? I mean, I tell my clients, okay, like, find your purpose. I wrote in my book and all that, but how do you do that?
Honestly, I think it's different for everyone because everyone experiences life differently. Me, I had to hit rock bottom mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I had to literally crumble to get to the point of, I'm either choosing life or I'm choosing my purpose. And if I'm choosing my purpose, I'm going to be all in and ask, please lead me where you need me. And when I say I fell to my knees, sobbing, screaming, yelling. They took my roommate out of my room. That's because she was like, this girl's weird. But I spent so much time in prayer. And what people don't understand, especially people who are non-religious, people who are agnostic or more spiritual like us, prayer is speaking affirmations. Prayer is asking for guidance. Prayer, so it doesn't need to be, dear Father, forgive me for I have sinned. Like, no, that's, I know that's a misconception for many individuals, but and good on you if that's your way of praying. But for me, prayer is just having a conversation with God or Creator or Allah, and there's so many names. So
right. The universe, God, wind, fire, yeah. Whatever.
There's days where I'm like, all right, universe, lead me, or all right, Father, lead me, all right, whoever you are today. It's just whatever moment I'm in, I'm like, you know who I'm talking to.
Right.
It's like calling your kids like, you know I'm talking to.
Exactly.
So um
So it's
yeah.
asking the universe for guidance and being open then and listening, and not so much that there it's actually going to speak to you like in biblical times, or like that's said in biblical times. It's more the gentle whisper. At least I'll say from my personal experience, you put that out there, you put that out to the universe, and then you go through your day, you go through the things you need to do, and you're just open and you're aware, and all of a sudden you start seeing these small signs, these small things that just guide you. And it could be a person saying one thing, it could be a commercial on TV that all of a sudden you go, oh, well, that struck me. Maybe I should look into that. And then it's just something that you're open to it, and then it resonates with you. It's something that sinks in, that allows you to find your purpose. So with that, you found your purpose, and I encourage everyone to find their purpose, be open to it, ask the universe, God, whoever you choose to believe, awesome, to find your purpose, and then start living it out, start chasing it, and allow that to lead you and guide you. So how did that transform or combine with your confidence? How did finding your purpose build the confidence for you?
Honestly, my confidence has just started. I mean, it's been growing since 2016, but it's really taken off since last year when COVID hit and we only had to work an hour from home. That was our requirement.
Oh wow.
So I definitely took advantage of that and told myself, okay, it's now or no, never. Like, you're gonna write that book. You're gonna get out there as a speaker, because before COVID hit, I was speaking on mental health and illness and
Wow.
different things. So um, I started getting with Unleash You Now. Michael found me on the Rise Up Challenge family.
Mhm.
So I was dabbling and trying to connect with other people, but I was so in my shell and so much in fear. And even now with building networking and stuff with my own um with my own growth weekend, I'm like, do I how do I and everyone is telling me the same thing. I'm like, okay, I think I got it. So I listen to Les Brown, I listen to Eric Thompson, I listen to Michael, I listen to you, I listen to Eric Sandoval says to follow your gut, which we would call follow your instinct. And it's, if it feels right, go that direction. If it feels like you're getting a clench and all that, don't do that. So I've just been following my gut or my instinct, and it's not led me astray. And it's telling myself, is this what you truly want? And asking myself, am I in my purpose or am I in my human? Because I very much separate my spirit and my human aspect. If I'm in my purpose, I'm in my spirit. I'm in whatever it is the universe is needing and wanting me to do for this lifetime that I'm here to help serve others, because it is about serving others. If I'm in my human, where Maria describes as your inner bitch,
Mhm.
then, I'll ask myself, like, am I being Nikki or am I being Nicole right now? And there's also that fine balance of standing in your power, which I also coach on, is taking your voice back and standing in your power. And once you take your voice back, it's over. It's over, because then no one will silence you again, and you can speak up, you can be heard, and you can be in your power and be compassionate and loving and be impactful. And you can combine this little aspect of yourself and just be intently focused on what your mission and your purpose is.
I love that, and I love that you're letting your gut, your instinct guide you, and separating it from the human aspect, from the spiritual part of you. And you also let them play together. I mean, I would think let them play together, because I mean, your human body's carrying out what your spiritual being needs to have happen, right? But with that, as you're pursuing, your purpose, and allowing, what is it, following your gut, following your instinct, that you're seeing your confidence rise, because now you're not arguing with yourself. Now you're not having that angst, anxiety, and stress nearly as much, at least. And so that's building up more confidence. And you go like, oh no, I am headed on the right way. This feels right. And then the more you do that, the more your confidence is building up, and continuing to build. And then, just like speaking right in front of groups, so you're nervous the first time, but the more you do it, the more confidence you build. And then when you're chasing your passion, you're following your purpose, then even you might still get nervous for it, but you have more confidence because it's something that you believe in. It's something that you're meant for. Is that, would I be right in saying that for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I think what people need to understand as well is you're going to lose a lot of people along the way as you're stepping into your purpose, but it's not really losing them. It needs to be looked at as the aspect of they're being moved so the right people can come in. And the more I challenged myself, the more I listened to my instinct or my energy, and kind of, you can feel when somebody's negative, or you can recognize when if somebody is constantly complaining about the same thing, and when you're offering them, okay, are you venting or are you complaining? Because if you're venting, what can we replace this with? That's amazing. If you're complaining, I'm not for that right now. Like, because you're disrupting my energy, and I don't give you permission to disrupt my energy. So I'm going to stop you right now because I'm not ready for that emotionally or mentally or spiritually. So I've literally only talked to 2 people that were in my social setting from before, as you will. 99% of the individuals I communicate with now are in some form of growth group movement, are entrepreneurs, are mindset, mentality, spiritual coaches. It is truly about who you surround yourself with, because I was analyzing how much I've grown over the last year. And with that in Cancun, what my challenge to myself was pre-COVID was to run toward fear, because everyone runs away from fear. Even I was running away from fear. I was running away from everything. And I never just stopped and turned around and said, pardon my French, fuck it, we're going at this. And we're taking it head on. I was terrified of the ocean. I was terrified to be alone. And I came out of the military, I got married, I took a 9-month break, and then I got with somebody, and that lasted 3 years. So my mission to myself was to run toward fear, because I was tired of running away from it. So I booked a trip to San Diego by myself for 4 days. I took surf lessons. I went kayaking and snorkeling. My special self decided to go snorkeling off on my own because they said we could. And I looked up and I'm like, all of a sudden in the middle of the ocean, and I'm not by my group. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever swam as fast as I possibly could in my life, because all of a sudden in my head, I was like, dun, 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 dun. But I did it. And then in Cancun, when we went to the, oh gosh, what are they called? You weren't there. Cenotes? Enotes?
Yeah, I can't help you there, but are you talking about like the pool that's basically in a cavern?
Yes, that.
Yeah.
It took me, if you asked anyone there, it took me like 5 minutes to jump off this stupid thing into the water. And then someone made a mention, because my reflexes are still quick. So there was a moment where it looked like I was going, but my toes caught me. But I did it. And then when we went to the second one, it was even higher. And I did it. And something triggered me in that day that no matter what, I can overcome anything. And that gave me so much more power within myself and confidence. And even though I retract a little bit now, like I was telling you about the mother-daughter weekend, our friend Maria, she's like, girl, if you don't do this, like, she's basically kicking me off the edge. Well, I'm kicked off the edge. My wings are flying, and I'm like, So it's, it's about challenging yourself constantly and running toward the fear, because it is irrational. We have rational fear and irrational fear, and Your body knows when you're going to be in immediate danger. You have to decide if that immediate danger is real, or if that immediate danger of reaching out to somebody to say, hey, I have this thing going on. What's the danger there? You're going to get told no. There's no danger there. It's your own irrational fear. So jumping through those, and everyone in our group has just been helping tremendously with that. And now I run toward it and I reach out. The ability to have some people to reach out to is surround yourself with the right folks, because they're going to say, okay, are you done? Are you done whining now? Go do it. And let me know when it's done. Oh my God, Michael did that to me yesterday or today. He's like, okay, why don't I see this post yet? And I'm like, because. And he's like, you gonna do it? I'm like, okay, I'm going. So it's
surrounding yourself with the right crew is huge. As you said, you've grown so much this past year because of who you surrounded yourself by. And it's scary to do that. It's scary to look at your social circle and go, okay, I need to step outside my comfort zone. I need to take that leap of faith and surround myself with these new people and know that it's okay to lose some of the other ones. But let's keep that analogy going of taking that leap of faith like you did in Cancun and take that plunge. You know you're going to be okay, but it's scary. And there's so many things in our life, not just jumping into a pool inside a canyon thing, but like you come to challenge days, or even just little things, something that, as you said, reaching out to someone, and all of a sudden you're freaked out, you're worried, and what's the worst thing that's going to happen? They say no, or take that leap of faith, because most likely, rather than not, it's going to work out just fine. Right? You're not going to be harmed. And if you are, figure that out beforehand, hopefully, so that you know that risk, but it's going to be okay. And by doing that, and I would suggest, as refocusing this even more on confidence, to build that confidence, you need to take those risks to build that confidence. So take that risk, make it a small one that's not like crazy huge at first, and then do that and say, oh, look, I made it. I survived. Then do something a little bigger. Oh, look, I made this, like they did with you in Cancun. You started at one. Okay, it took you a lot, but you made it. Then the next one was even bigger. It was taller. And you're going, okay, I got this. So it's layering it. And I don't know if you picked this up yet for everyone watching, but like it's layering on these small successes into bigger successes into bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's how we can build our confidence. And it's something we all do. And, it's not being boastful, saying, oh, look at me, I'm freaking awesome. Look what I did. Look how I've helped people. It's more like, well, no, look, I can help people, and I could share my stories, and I could share my energy, my confidence, my love with other people to help them. I want to be respectful of your time, Nicole. So I have one last question for you. And that is, if you had one single tip to help a person live their lives to the max, to gain the confidence they need to live their lives to the max, what would that be?
Honestly, it would have to be run toward fear and make those small leaps and jumps, because that is the best way to boost your own confidence by far. You
Love it. What amazing advice. Thank you so much. And we're going to leave it there with that one, because I can't top that. That was just perfect. How can people reach out to you? I mean, you mentioned your mother-daughter weekend. You mentioned, that you help and work with people. How can they connect with you?
Absolutely. I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Nicole Bonecki, Bonecki. Also, you can email me at cage2stage, CAGETOSTAGE @gmail.com.
Cage2stage@gmail.com. Awesome. And if you can't remember that, didn't get it, just reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to connect you all with her, because she's amazing. And I'm so happy to have you part of my circle, part of my family, and raising me up. So thank you, Nicole, for being there for me. I appreciate it.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, everyone, go after it. Run towards fear. Take those leaps of faith, and let's keep rocking and rolling. All right, we'll see you all tomorrow for our training, or tonight, whenever you're watching this. We'll see you for the other trainings for this deep dive week. All right, we'll catch y'all later. Hey, I'm really sorry to butt in like this, but I know you're gonna love this, and I'm too excited to not share it with you right now. And that is Spencer's Energy Hub. Yeah, that's right, Spencer's Energy Hub. It is a community It's the Jonesin 4 community. You're listening to the Jonesin 4 show or watching it, right? And now there's a community designed for you to have success. We want you to live your life to the max, and we can help you. We can help you do that through the tips, techniques, and strategies we share in this show, but also within this energy hub. So what is it? Well, it is a membership crew that's a family, right? We are a community who are there to support you, be in your corner when times get tough and when times are awesome. But there's more. You get weekly trainings. You get help, strategies, and ways to help you actually implement what you learn to have success so you can live your life to the max. Oh, and there's monthly interviews with experts and masters in their field sharing their knowledge with all of you so you can really take it, implement it, and have success in your life and go up that mountain faster and better than you could have before. You're here now, which is awesome. Now take it to the next level and join us at Spencer's Energy Hub. Go there and find out what it all entails and all that and sign up to join. Just go to spencersenergyhub.com or spencermjones.com. You can find it there and click on it and make sure you check it out and join us in the hub. Can't wait to see you inside.